In this tutorial, I will show you how to create a database in cPanel. So we have already logged into the control panel, and what I'm going to do now is scroll down almost to the bottom, and you'll see the section here called Databases. And the first icon is showing you the MySQL databases. So we're going to click on that. And the first thing that we can do is create a new database. Now in cPanel, your database name is always started with your username, an underscore, and then here I can place my cursor and type in whatever I want. So if you have multiple databases, you can create a whole bunch of them, but they're all going to start with your hosting account username and underscore. So I'll go ahead and enter in a database name. And then I'm going to click on Create Database. And so now it says that the database has been added, and I can now click on the Go Back button. And you will see down here it shows the database, the size of the database, and of course right now it's empty, so it doesn't take up any space. And then if I wanted to delete the database, I could click on this link over here. So the next step is to create a user. So I'll scroll down, and here's the area where I can create a user. Now a user basically is a user account, so there's going to be a username and a password, and that information is going to be used to allow this user to gain access to the database, to either read the database, add information to it, or change information in the database. So again, we'll start off by giving it a username. And you'll see again, all usernames start with the GeoGuide underscore username, because for this hosting account, the username is GeoGuide. And I'll just go in here and give it a username. Next step is to give it a password. And I'll click into the next field to confirm the password. And here it shows you the strength of the password. So generally you want to try to use combinations of capitalization and small letters, numbers, and special characters. And that's how you can get a very strong password. So once I filled in all that information, I'll click on Create User. And now the user has been created. And here it shows you the password, which of course I've blanked out for this video. And then I can click on the Go Back button. So now if I scroll down to the bottom, you can see that I also have under the current user section, it shows the user I just created. And again, if I wanted to delete that, then I can just click on the delete button here. Now I've created a database and I've also created a user. The last step is to connect the two together so that the software knows that this particular user has access to this particular database. So you can see here it's labeled as Add User to Database, and it's already put in the first two because really I only have one user and one database at this point. So it has already pre-filled those in. If I had multiple users or multiple databases, I could click on this and it would be a drop-down menu. But in this particular case, there's just one of each. So I'll click on Add. And now in this step, it's asking what permissions do I want to give my user when it's accessing the database. Generally speaking, I'm going to want to click on All Privileges. There might be some situations where you want to give different users different access points to the database. So for example, some users perhaps should only be able to read the content, whereas others are able to create new content or delete content. But in almost all cases that you'll run across, you're going to want to give it all privileges. The next step is to click the Make Changes button. And it confirms that this user was added to this database. And then I'll click on the Go Back button. So now if I scroll down, you will see here under Current Databases, it shows that my WordPress database has a user with the name of admin. And what I can now do is I can delete this user out of the database, in which case that user would then no longer have permission to access that database. The database would still remain intact. If I wanted to delete the database, then I could delete the database by clicking on this link. If I did that, it would delete the database, but it would not delete the user. The user would still be shown down here under the list of current users. So that is how you can go into cPanel and create a new database, create users who have permission to access that database, and then tell those users what permissions exactly they have.